Metro on WDET, Detroit Public Radio. I'm Robin Vincent. It's time for our weekly conversation with a local group that helps to defend democracy. I'm talking about the Detroit Documenters. They play a vital role in improving our access to information. That's because they attend a range of public meetings and document what leaders and community members are saying. As we've been discussing, Detroit is in the middle of local election season. The primary is coming up August 5th, followed by the general election in November. Several boards and public bodies in Detroit have open seats, and it will take separate processes to make these boards whole. Some seats will be selected by voters, and others will be appointed by local leaders. Producer Jack Philbrandt spoke to Detroit Documenters coordinators Lynelle Herndon and Noah Kincade to break this all down.
Are there boards and bodies in Detroit operating without the designated number of members?
So that's an interesting question. Yes, you can say that. There are currently several agencies or public bodies that with openings, and that's not unusual. There are at least 3 that I know of with openings right now. The Board of Police Commissioners has a seat available. The school board is working to fill a seat that was left vacant by a member who's moving on to the Wayne County Commission, who had an opening after Commissioner Irma Clark Coleman died. And there's a few openings on the newly formed Tenants Rights Commission. When you say operating, that's sort of another question because there's certain things these boards or commissions can't do without what's called a quorum, which is the majority of their membership present at the meeting to discuss and vote on matters, which is essentially their main goal.
Lynelle, people are either going to be elected or appointed to these open seats. Can you break down the difference between an elected and an appointed position?
Yeah, so an elected position is when your name is on the ballot or we write it in and we, the public, the people, the voters, vote for them during an election. An appointed position is when another public official chooses a person for that role. And so then the question is appointed by who? It's generally like the mayor, sometimes city council. Where that pool of candidates or appointees come from and the process of choosing them varies. And there's also a circumstance in which the body itself could appoint someone.
What is the process for filling some of these open seats? I'm sure it's different from board to board.
So what we want to look at is, if it's an appointed position, obviously a new appointment will happen, right? But what happens a lot of the time is, if it's an elected position, somebody unexpectedly dies or someone is removed for whatever reason, a lot of those elected roles end up getting a temporary appointment, right? Because it takes time to hold an election, right? And they're very costly. So you don't want to hold a whole special election across a whole city or a county just for this one seat. Mm-hmm. So what happens is there's a temporary appointment made, and it's typically to serve out either the full remainder of that person's term or to just fill that seat until the next regularly scheduled election happens, where that position could be just added to a ballot that's already going to be there, so there's no extra cost for the election.
Lynelle, what challenges come when a board doesn't have all of its members?
So if someone's not there for a meeting, whether they're just absent or whether there's a vacant position, it precludes business from being accomplished. Usually in those situations, they'll kind of just listen to public comment. They may or may not be able to receive and file documents and reports, and generally just adjourn until the next meeting when hopefully they'll be able to address that policy or legislation or contract or resolution or whatever decisions in front of them.
Noah, how has the Detroit Documenters seen vacant seats hamper the process of some of these public bodies?
Yeah, it can really be a problem. Back in 2023, the Detroit Board of Ethics, which is a 7-member body, had 3 vacancies. So that meant that the remaining 4 people who were on that board, all of them had to show up in order to have a quorum. But repeatedly, at least one of those 4 wasn't going to be able to make the meeting. And so the meeting would cancel like the morning of. They'd post on their website, sorry, canceled due to a lack of a quorum. And that happened, it was the majority of the meetings over an entire year or longer until they were able to get those seats filled. So, I mean, it literally stopped the board being able to do its job.
It's the Metro, and we're talking to Detroit Documenters coordinators Lynelle Herndon and Noah Kincade. There's many vacant seats on several of Detroit's public bodies, including the Detroit Public Schools Community District Board, Wayne County Commission, Board of Police Commissioners, and the Tenants' Rights Commission. Noah, what's the process for filling seats on the Tenants' Rights Commission?
So you have to kind of go to the governing, like whatever the document is that created this body that we're talking about. In this case, it was an ordinance passed by City Council that states that what the composition of this commission will be, and it said there's going to be 4 of the members have to be appointed by City Council, 4 of the members have to be appointed by the mayor, and then 1 member has to be a joint appointment by both the mayor and city council for a total of 9 positions. In this case, all 3 vacancies appear to be mayoral appointments. So the process is really up to the mayor. It's going to be up to him to find 3 new people to serve. I know of those 3 seats, at least one of them, that person did indicate publicly that he was not going to serve on after accepting the appointment. The other 2, I really don't know what happened, but we haven't seen them at either the first or the second meeting, and it's kind of up in the air where those are right now.
What is going on with the Board of Police Commissioners and their open seat, Noah?
So that was Jesus Hernandez. He was serving a 5-year term appointed by Mayor Duggan, and his term ended. And I believe that appointed members can serve 2 consecutive terms. I don't know if he just didn't want to again, but he served the completion of his term, and it's now ended. And so it's really just, again, this is a mayoral appointment. It's going to be up to Mayor Duggan to appoint his successor.
The other board that has an open seat is Detroit Public Schools Community District. Can you talk about this, Lynelle?
Each public body has its own set of rules, guidelines, bylaws, procedures. The school board is usually a completely elected position. So we, the public, vote for school board members in elections. At the most recent school board meeting on July 8th, we heard public commenters say they think they should be able to vote to fill this open position as well. And board member Sherry Gay Dagnogo explained that the board's policy is to fill that vacant position within 30 days. And so in this case, that means there's no time for a special election, no time to get your name on the ballot for the August 5th primary, which are already printed. Those ballots are already printed. And so even within the same board, there can be different ways to go about filling positions, and it sometimes depends on the timing.
We have a clip from board member Sherry Gay Dagnogo talking about the board's process for filling the open seat at the July 8th meeting.
We have 30 days from the date of a member leaving the board, whether voluntarily or otherwise, to fill that seat, and or Wayne Risa would have the authority or right to appoint someone to get on a special election or to get on a current election. As you know, those ballots for the Tuesday, August 5th primary have already been printed, and many of those ballots have already been mailed. Yes. So while it sounds like a great idea, that would go past our 30-day deadline, and to get someone's name actually on the ballot, it would take a lot more time, and reprinting of the ballots in that process is not possible while it sounds good.
They're not just choosing someone, though. They do have an application process, which closed last week, and they're about to start conducting interviews, and the school board is going to vote publicly in an open meeting on July 28th.
That was one of the leaders of the Detroit Documenters, Lynelle Herndon, along with Noah Kincade. They were speaking with producer Jack Philbrandt. This is the Metro on WDET. 2 years ago, WDET launched its annual listener survey. Your responses informed significant programming changes at WDET. We added several new programs, including the Metro. Responses from the survey continue to inform how we approach our programs here. That includes this show. To keep you, our listeners, at the center of WDET's programming, what you hear on the Metro, we're once again asking you to fill out the WDET listener survey. Let us know how we're doing at WDET.org/survey. Coming up, the Concert of Colors transcends cultural boundaries with music from across the globe. We'll discuss why its return to Detroit this weekend comes at an essential time. This is WDET-FM, Detroit Public Radio, your connection to news, music, and conversation.